This is Daniel R. Levi with ReviewStash.com, and today we are going to be taking a quick look at the ASRock B75M-ITX board. This is a mini ITX motherboard with the B75 chipset from Intel. It supports the latest generation of Intel processors, Ivy Bridge, as well as the previous generation, Sandy Bridge, as long as they are socket 1155. So first thing to note, this is not the H77 series. The B75 chipset is more business-oriented, workstation-oriented. It's meant to be rock-solid, reliable, and pretty much all they did is remove a few of the overclocking-related features and restrict the SATA connectors, but at the end of the day, you pretty much get the features you need for a great price. And you can currently pick this board up for $90 on Newegg. An H61 board, which is the same sort of business type board, can be purchased for around $72, but if you purchase those boards, they do not come stock with serial ATA3 unless the manufacturer decided to add a secondary chipset, but because these are mini ITX boards, most likely they did not. So looking at the packaging, we see this supports ASRock's 555, which is just a fancy way of saying that they included some extra software that they made their software developers work on just so that they, I guess, had a project. Intel Small Business Advantage doesn't really do anything. Cool logo. Flip it over to the side. So there's the information on the connectors that it has. 7.1 channel audio, so you've got 8 audio outputs. DDR3 1600 native, which is great. But whoa, lots of stuff going on the back side of this package, as you can see. It's got hardy ASRock VRMs, which are always great. I know they have the Japanese capacitors on here, which are solid capacitors. So even if you don't know the actual manufacturer of the components, you know that at least ASRock is trying, so it shows you that they definitely care about their board and the components that goes on it. A few pictures. Let's just open this thing up. Alright. Have a driver disc. You don't need that. You guys go on the web and get the latest drivers, of course. Big manual. I thumbed through it. You can get all the details online. It's okay. It covers what you need to know. Here's some more details on their 555. I/O shield, standard fare. It's a piece of sheet metal that has holes cut out so your ports can go into it. And then we have a set of serial ATA connectors. It says that this one is specifically designed for serial ATA 3, 6 gigabits per second. As far as I know, the pinout is the same, and the connectors are the same for SATA 2 and SATA 3. They are backwards compatible, but I guess maybe their connector that's actually soldered onto the board is slightly different, so they want you to use this connector. It shouldn't make too much of a difference. But as always, if I am wrong about that, I guess you could leave a comment, let me know. And here's the board itself. I'm always impressed every time I open up a box with a mini ITX board because until you really see one in person, you really can't appreciate how small these boards are. Much smaller than micro ATX. Great looking board. Let's open that up. Alright, there's the foam. So here is the mini monster in all of its glory. Let's take a look at the ports here. Here's your 7.1 audio, your DVI connector, HDMI, VGA, and there's a PS2 connector, which is pretty nice, especially for folks who are getting into the mechanical keyboard craze. 2 USB 3.0 eSATA connector, 4 USB 2.0, TIN 100 1000 megabit Ethernet, which is a Realtek chip. Yeah, I guess I see what they did now. The SATA 3 connector on the board does look different than their SATA 2 connectors, so, I guess they might have a latching mechanism on there, some sort of latch. 24-pin connector, 4-pin power. This is mini ITX, so they usually design these boards to pull less power to the components. There's the solid capacitors they were talking about. It's a good looking board. In the pictures, the PCB looks brownish. It is brown in person, but most of the traces give it sort of a black color. So would go great with pretty much any build. There's the VRMs, solid components. Looks like a great board. Here is the socketable UEFI BIOS memory. This is 64 megabytes, so pretty roomy, and they definitely need it for that UEFI interface, which is mouse and keyboard compatible, has a full graphical interface when you boot into the BIOS. I'll be excited to check that out. Back of the board. Looks like you have a lot of clearance here for any sort of heatsink, which is nice. No daughter card for any of the extra power stages or anything, so everything's self-contained. You have a flat line coin cell battery. Maybe they could have made that a vertical coin cell and put more components on here. But 16X PCIe, great looking board, full featured, 1600 megahertz slots. Yeah, it's also got a CIR header for infrared devices, which is neat if you're building a home theater PC. Again, ASRock, solid warranty service. You get a 3-year full warranty on this device, which is fantastic. And I know a lot of folks are interested in overclocking, although with m-itx you may want to be a bit wary there, but their UEFI interface on this board is not locked down and is full featured from what I've seen. So you do have full access to ASRock's great OC tweaker. You have voltage control, DRAM frequency and timings, and you have your B clock. You also have GT overclocking mode, which if you're only using integrated graphics on the Intel CPU, you can actually overclock from the BIOS the integrated GPU, so the HD 2500 or 4000. So that's kind of cool if you're building something for a family member or a friend and you know they don't really need too much power, just playing a little bit of Counter-Strike, Team Fortress 2. Great looking board. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, want to know anything else about the board, just go ahead and leave them a comment. Thanks.